Welcome to the show. Getting carried away with our pre-programme chat there. A very familiar face and an unfamiliar face on the show this evening, but the unfamiliar face hopefully is going to become a very familiar one indeed. I refer to the budding young, she's only 16 I think, Sheffield referee, Caitlyn O'Grady. Lovely to see you, Caitlyn.
Yeah, lovely to meet you too.
I'm looking forward to hearing about your career and your ambitions, and if you achieve even a tenth of what the person alongside you achieved in his career, you'll have had a fantastic career in football refereeing. I refer, of course, to our old friend Keith Hackett, the former FIFA referee from Sheffield and the ex-manager of England's referees. I dare say, Keith, you and I are going to be having a little bit of jousting on the subject of VAR this evening, aren't we?
I think we're going to start with it and we're going to end with it, because I think right through the season we're going to have discussion and debate.
And
agree and disagree.
Yeah, I think we both think, and yours is the far more professional view than mine. Mine's a layman's view. I think we both see the good in VAR, but I tend to be anti it, and you're very much pro it, and you can put your case for that as the evening goes on. Yeah. In addition to which, you're an Owls fan, and you'll be interested in the news today. Disappointing news, to say the least, of what it appears to be what it appears to be Steve Bruce's imminent departure from Sheffield Wednesday to Newcastle. We're hearing views on that from Sheffield Star journalist Alex Miller, who'll be here in the second part of the show. I'll be adding my two penneth on what I think of that move as well, and the rearrangement of the financial furniture at Sheffield Wednesday. We're discussing that with Alex as well later in the programme. Meantime, Caitlyn, it's very good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
From Ecclesfield,
yeah,
which is your neck of the woods.
Absolutely, Keith.
And that's a breeding ground for good referees. That's a good start. You're just 16. You haven't been refereeing very long, have you?
No, just under 2 years.
What made you get started then? What's the attraction? I'm mystified.
Well, I started playing when I was 9, and then I played right up until I was 15. I kind of fell out of playing, didn't think I was good enough to play. So me and my dad kind of spoke about ways to keep in the game, because I just want to be involved in football. That's what I like. That's like my passion. Then I started coaching. I coached another team. Kind of enjoyed it, not as much as I did playing, so I just thought, is there anything else for me? Then it was near my birthday, so me and my dad were constantly talking about the referees course. My dad was like, well, I'd love to send you on your referees course, would you like it as like part of a birthday present? I was like, yeah, great experience, might enjoy it, might not, let's see. Went on the referees course, loved the weekend, met so many great people, and now nearly 18 months down the line I'm still doing it and I still enjoy it.
Crikey, I can think of better birthday presents than Caitlyn started partly because she felt she wasn't good enough. That's why I became a journalist, because I wasn't good enough playing. Were you not good enough playing either?
Absolutely the same. I think that most people fall into referee, and then when they start, I think if they can get through that first month and then the second month, then the enjoyment comes. But let me tell you, I think for young referees like Caitlyn, it's far more difficult now than it was in my time. I didn't get the level of abuse. I didn't have parents on the line. I just went. All I had to deal with was the secretary of the club, who paid you the money, and 22 players. Now it's quite a mix, and I think that I see parents, even though we control at Penistone Church the parents quite well and they're generally well behaved, but there are times when they get frustrated with the referee. Their expectation is what they see on a Saturday night, they're expecting someone like Caitlyn to deliver on a Sunday.
Difficult. You say that people fall into refereeing, they can easily fall out with refereeing, and quite early on in a refereeing career as well. Have you encountered anything that's put you off so far, anything that's disturbed you, questioned why you're doing it? Oh yeah, definitely.
I'd been refereeing about maybe 2 months, 3 months, and I was just getting into it, and I'd just done that morning, I'd done an under 15s boys game, and then my dad's friend manages an under 7s boys team, and their referee let him down, so he rang my dad like, is Caitlyn free, could you come and help us out? I was like, yeah, of course, I'm not going to leave him without a referee. Turned up, and now it's like a double format, so I just finished the first half of the first game, went okay. We're in the sevens, you know, you're just trying to encourage the kids, trying to help them. Got into the second half of the first game, and a player went down just kind of when they kicked the feet, and you know they're only 6, 7, and kind of fell over, but he started crying. It looked like it hurt his knee, and it was on 3G as well, so you know when you skid and stuff. I just thought, you can't leave a 6-year-old crying and he's rolling around, so I kind of stopped the game, went down, and I just said to the manager, would you like to come on, you know, because sometimes 6 and 7-year-old, what I found refereeing is they just need a little bit of manager, like, get up, you're fine, a bit of encouragement from someone that they know, not just me, because they don't really know me. The manager kind of refused to come on and kind of just told me to get him up. So I was like, right, that's fine. You know, if you're not going to come on, I can't make you come on. So I was like, right, come on, like. Yeah. He got up, he was fine. That was my first little bit in the game. I was like, oh, like, I didn't know pit managers were like that. I didn't know. Game carried on, and I had a man on the sideline. He looked in his 70s, and he just said, why is she on the pitch? So straight away, I was a bit like, oh. He said it loud enough. He went, no way is she allowed on this pitch. So then I didn't start, I just carried on. I thought, I'm here for the kids, I'm here for the boys, I'm not here to kind of try to ignore it. And then he made a comment that females shouldn't be on that pitch, in which then one of the managers shouted across, don't ever say that, like, that's... And then it went a bit to and through that I shouldn't be there, I'm female, I should not be on that pitch, I should be at home, I shouldn't be around those young boys, things like that. Which then the boys just kind of stopped playing, like everything just stopped. The boys just stopped playing football, so obviously I just stopped the game. And he got really angry, really angry, and he was just saying females should not be on this pitch, that is why females aren't involved in sport. Things like she should be at home, no way should she be around in a man's sport. We're all very, you know, and I just stopped the game and I went off. And obviously I'd not been on it long. I got really upset because I was like, I'm not accepted. If I'm not accepted, I shouldn't be doing this. And then a parent kind of stuck up to me, went up to him and just said, I think you should apologise. And he said, no way. And he just walked past me and left. And that was that. And I went home, and it one of those moments where you kind of just chuck your kit back down, and it was like, I don't want to be involved in this. But
did your family try and talk you into staying in refereeing after that very upsetting experience? But you clearly came very close. Yeah. Understandably, but these sort of shocking, terrible, old attitudes are still there, aren't they, Keith? To be, I think, to be broken down.
Yeah, they've got to be broken down. I mean, we've got to accept how the game is played, and everybody in any gender can play the game. And I think it's sad because the expectations from the supporters sometimes are too high. It's this comparison between what they see on television.
It's an extra cross to bear for a female referee, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's bad enough for male referees, isn't it? Where we have to have a very thick skin. But it's that extra element of, as Caitlyn said, what are you doing on the football? What do you know about football? You should be in the kitchen. That sort of comments, you know?
Totally out of order. And you know, I think that clubs have a responsibility. You know, the FA work hard at trying to get these sort of issues out of the game. But remember, we have had male, more senior in age referees being assaulted physically. Yeah. And therefore, it is a problem in the game. And you know, I think that sometimes the punishment for the offence is not big enough. You know, you know, if a spectator touches a referee in anger, for me, that should be banned from football for life. It's overstepped a mark.
What, the spectator?
Absolutely, is unacceptable. Yeah. And the same for a player. Yeah. And yet we've had, you know, I watched a game last year with Penistone Church, and before kick-off, somebody said to me, that guy there, number 10, he assaulted a referee, and his punishment has been reduced, and he's back on this game. And within 20 minutes, he's dismissed.
Right. You handled some pretty heavy-duty games, haven't you, as well? You've done games in the, you know, men's level, men's games. Yeah. You know, where you're dealing with, you know, some quite aggressive characters, I suppose, at times. How do you cope with that?
Well, I was an assistant referee for a male over 35 semi-final, and that was my first ever male game, so I was going in it nervous anyway, not knowing what to expect, knowing that it would be different to the women's game because everyone knows that it is, the male's game is different to the women's game, not knowing what to expect, and it was a lot. There was a lot of aggression into it, but I felt all the players were respected me, and in a way I sometimes, I don't know if people might disagree with me, sometimes find that older male players respect me more than they would maybe a male referee, and I don't know if that's because I'm a young female or just because I'm a female and they've got a bit of pride.
Or they've got daughters of similar age, it could
That's
be.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's much the case. I think that we just have to accept that the game is changing, and the quicker, the better. Because I think that we as a country, sadly, are behind. I think I've said this before in terms of women's football and in terms of officiating when compared to America. I mean, in the early 80s, when I was in the States, I was absolutely gobsmacked how many women were playing football and how many women were refereeing.
Yeah.
And then when I took over the PGMOL, we had Wendy Tons, who was an outstanding assistant referee and a very good referee. But she was unable to break through onto the Football League because
Fitness, wasn't it?
the fitness in terms of, well, they insisted that if you wanted a female to referee on a male game, they had to pass the male fitness test.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that, I see referees running around like headless chickens.
Yeah.
I've commented at this World Cup how fit the referees were.
Yeah.
They were really mobile and possessed the sprint, and that enthusiasm was there. Some shortfalls, obviously, in detecting foul challenges, if I'm going to be really technical, but in the main, I think they did quite well. And I think we've just got to get to the point where we can replicate Germany, which is the Bundesliga is a tough league. France, La Liga, is also a tough league, and both have got women referees refereeing at that level.
We've got Sean Massey, Ellis and Lisa Rashid. I think they're both involved in the Women's World Cup Inspirations for you. You've refereed academy matches at Sheffield United, so you're at a good standard. You share something in common with Keith as a Sheffield Wednesday supporter. And I was talking to your dad, Jason, earlier, who tells me he sits near us in the press area. He's not in the press area, but close to. Yeah. And you go with him, don't you?
Yeah.
To Hillsborough.
Yes.
Do you ever shout at the referee?
Yes.
Be honest now.
I do.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. And
what kind of things do you shout then?
It's never abuse like you hear. It's just kind of like, just little, oh, come on, ref. Just little things. But I feel like sometimes us referees are a bit harsher on other referees because we I find we're a lot harsher because we kind of have our opinion on what we know the laws of the game as, but then other referees do it different and you're a bit like, whoa,
referees are ferociously critical of each other.
Yeah.
We've had many conversations down that line.
Ferocious.
I see it much as a shortfall. If somebody is not putting in a physical effort on the field of play and he's short of the decision and the decision outcome is incorrect, then that's when I get frustrated.
Okay, let's move on to VAR. Talk about frustration. VAR so far and what needs improving, Keith?
Well, let's look at the referees first of all. I mean, the boss came out, PGMOL boss came out and said 82% accuracy has been achieved. I mean, previously been saying 90 odd. So last season he's saying 82% accuracy on the big decisions.
Yeah.
That's might, if you're passing an exam at school, might be a good mark and you're very happy with it. In reality, in refereeing, it means 1 in 5 big decisions around penalties and other aspects of the game are wrong. And so therefore, I think that if the aim is that you've got 22 cameras, minimum, and that exposes you to error. Whoever you are, and however good you are, if there's a camera at the switch of a button, can put you there, and the referee's probably 5-10 yards.
So we're saying it's a good thing for the game if it's used right, and it's a good thing for the referees who need the support.
Yes.
But is it being used correctly?
No. I think, first of all, we've seen far too much interference it started off, and it's very clear that the criteria says serious and obvious error. That's the starting point. And I feel that there are times when that serious and obvious error has become interference, an undue interference. And I think there are times when we're expecting, for example, a goal. I mean, I've seen several goals scored. From my view, there's absolutely nothing wrong. And from the man in the stand, he ought to be able to say the same. And we sit around, the fans have had a cheer, and then they're in fear that the goal's not going to be given, and then it's given. And that, for me, impacts greatly on the game, and it's probably taken a couple of minutes to get there.
And also, you get the feeling that, I get the feeling that the VARs are trying to justify their existence by raising anything that might be queried, rather than saying, oh, I can see straight away, there's an error there, let's refer it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, you know, for them it's a new role, and therefore they're developing the role. And we're going to see it. See, my big fear is I'm still hearing noises that in the Premier League next season they will not have the pitch side monitor. And the reason being is that managers don't want it because it interferes with the flow of the game. And I understand all that. But Law 5, getting technical, states that the referee is the sole decision maker, right? He's the ultimate person who makes the decision. And I'll be blunt. If I'm out on the field of play and a linesman assistant gives me a flag, offside, I'm going to take it. If he gives me a flag and he's telling me it's a penalty kick, in my day as an active referee, I would go across and have a discussion. I provided them with, I introduced communication kits into refereeing for the very reason, let's cut that conversation to a minimum. And he's got to convince me over the phone, over the line, that it's a penalty kick. What we've got now is we've got a guy, you know, when a referee makes a decision, in his mind he's absolutely correct.
He's got to feel that way.
He's in front of 40,000 or 20,000, whatever. He's gone and said, I've made the correct call.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing happens. In his ear, the guy says, I think you got that one wrong. You need to have a look at it.
There are times when he's right, though.
The pressure then is enormous on the referee.
Yeah.
Because what we are seeing is the players coming in.
Are we going to see mayhem in the Premier League?
Yes.
Mayhem.
And we've got very experienced referees. They've spent 2 years practicing it. We've no pitch side monitor because that's what the managers want.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to have a situation where he's not given the penalty kick. Somebody tells him it's a penalty kick. He's now giving it, and he's not looking at a screen. And the manager's saying, "Well, the first call wasn't one."
You were right first time.
You were right.
And the referee in the middle, by and large, is going to be a senior man to the VAR.
Correct.
Who's a backup guy from the Championship or something like that.
Well, they've appointed 5 Championship. I think there's a couple of assistant referees in there. Ultimately, it is about teamwork.
Yeah.
And it's about accountability. Who is accountable? And I'll tell you, it's the referee. He's going to carry the can. Even
when it's somebody else advising him.
I mean, I've sat there, Alan, on some of the VAR decisions. I think I'm reasonably good at making a decision. And I'm going with the referee. And then I've seen the referee overturn his own decision. Because someone is whispering in his ear and he's now under time pressure.
That's human nature.
Well,
you think, well, he's got loads of screens. I've only got the one view with my naked eye. He must be right.
But he's not going to have a view.
50 seconds to the break. VAR on offside. I absolutely hate it. A toe offside. Now, come on, Keith. Can you support it?
Well, I think the law's got to be changed. I think ultimately, if he's that far offside, it's very similar to the ball being over the line.
Yeah. And also, is the technology accurate? 2 points of measurement. Is it sustainably accurate?
I think that you will always have the technical side, as they do with goal line technology, saying it's 99%. My view is, quite clearly, I doubt with the requirements of, first of all, being in line with the secondary most defender, and then the interpretation of active and non-active. I think you've got a problem
there. You've got your doubts. 4 seconds to the break. We'll be back in 5 minutes. And Sheffield Wednesday chat as well. To rejoin us.